So today I want to share some thoughts I have with you about the Netflix show called One Day. And I hope you don't hear all that horrible construction work outside. So I really enjoyed this show, even though there were some parts that were very painful to watch for me. Um, so the characters that I mentioned today are going to be Dexter, Emma, and Sylvie. And what some things that really touched me about this show were that it really explored the experience of men grieving partners that were so meaningful to them. So there's Dexter's father, of course, when Dexter's mother dies, but then there's Dexter himself when our beloved heroine passes away. So these are a lot of spoiler alerts. I wish I had captions to say that. So I just really thought it was unique and special to see men grieving and to see how deep it went inside them, how it took them, especially Dexter, to really dark paths down drugs and alcohol and perhaps other ways of just sort of losing himself. And I also really enjoyed how this show really showed the and by the way, I haven't read the book, so it's probably owed to the book. But anyways, the show just made me think about how much the character Dexter changed over the course of the story. He changed so much. He went from this kind of just fun, do whatever I want, to, TV famous, to struggling with drugs and alcohol, to married with a child, to being divorced, to then finally waking up, we could say, and realizing that he wanted to be with this woman that he's known for so long. And I just want to mention a little bit about the parts that were super painful to watch for me. Like there were scenes when I just said, "Oh my God, they're never going to get together. What is this about? This is so painful. This is excruciating to watch her hanging out with him, calling him her best friend. Does she really believe that she's not in love with him? That she hasn't been all this time?" I mean, there's a part of me wondering that. And can they really just be friends? It's just. I also just felt that the scene with Sylvie when Dexter meets the family for the first time, oh my God, and how just sarcastic and mean and rude, and that game with the, are you there, whatever, and the newspaper, oh my God, the twins hitting him, and then him hitting Sylvie. It was so, I just felt the social like paying of that, watching that scene. And by the way, that it made me also think about the UK and different social classes, because when I saw Dexter and his family, I thought, well, they look really rich, he's got education and money. And then Sylvie's family, I'm like, what is that? Is that like you don't have to work rich? Like they were just so elitist. I didn't understand enough about the social scenario. So if you know more about it, feel free to chime in here. And then it would also be so painful, as I mentioned before, when I felt he wouldn't take Dexter wouldn't take it, Emma seriously. And when that date they had where before they didn't see each other for a year, when he kept going in the bathroom and she was like, "What are you doing?" She starts reading a book. It was so painful. I had to take breaks and turn it off. And almost every non-Dexter sexual encounter that Emma had, I just would sort of cringe. I'd be like, oh my gosh, does she really like this person? Is she into this person? What is this? That's the feeling, the response that I had. And I also found it so painful when Dexter and Emma would fight. It was just so it was so real and so yucky. The couples therapist inside of me was like, ugh, I want to either turn this off because I'm not working right now, or get in there and help. Part of me wanted to get in and help. And, that's something I felt like this series or this book really, really kind of also displayed, is that how relationships can go so sour. And especially you see this with Sylvie, the way that she fights with Dexter after they have a baby, and the way that you hear her fighting with, Dexter's friend when she marries or gets with him afterwards. It's so like the things she's saying, it's just, oh, it just makes me cringe. I just wish people wouldn't fight that way, but that happens when our emotions get high and when we don't stop ourselves. And the last little point I want to make is just that this series made me think a lot about how the interplay of arousal, which we could say is lust and eroticism, and then the other thing, which is attachment, this sort of, I want to be with you, I want to have a life with you. If you die, I'll be devastated. Like the way those two things are manifesting there, because that's what you really see with Dexter, the change that happened in him that I was mentioning. It was like he would say, Emma, I fancy you, but I fancy everyone. That's the problem with me. And you could see that it took him a while until he had a relationship. And his first real relationship, it appears, at least from the series, was with Sylvie, and he married her, right? But you see him really start to change to where he's yearning for that. That's meaningful to him, that he's crying when he finds out in Paris that Emma has another man in her life. You just kind of see that change, and it just makes me wonder, is this a combination of living on the planet plus age plus hormones plus maturing? What is that? And also how painful it is when there's that dynamic of two people come together and one of them is coming from one angle and the other one from the other. So one perhaps with mostly attachment, maybe also lust and other things inside, but the other one just wanting to have fun, and how chemistry can bring them together and then not keep them together, which is fine for some situations and folks, but it just made me really think about that. It's beautiful and lovely, and I just want to thank the writer of this book and Netflix. I really enjoyed it.